You know what's one of the worst things about this government shutdown is the fact that when the government opens, it will not be because pressure was applied due to the fact that men, women, and children are going hungry and starving. It'll be due to the fact that billionaires and their billion-dollar corporations start losing money. That is the country we live in and the country that people like Donald Trump and his administration favor and will listen to. They will not listen to the cries of the people who are out here actively hungry, having their EBT program, SNAP, everything cut off. They will not listen to that. But as soon as CEOs of major companies start coming to them and the buddies and the ones who are donating to this ballroom of Donald Trump's, those are the people that they will listen to because that's all they care about. It's all about the money. It's not about the citizens. This man was never elected to take care of the people, Republican or Democrat. I hope all those MAGA people hear that. Republican or Democrat, he does not care. Unless you are a rich person, a billionaire, you do not even come on his radar. That is when the government will reopen, is when those people start squawking and squeaking so loud that they're not going to be able to tune it out. But the millions and millions and millions of people that are affected by this government shutdown on all levels, not just SNAP and EBT, but especially those, because hunger is going to be the biggest driving force, they do not care. It falls on deaf ears.
Guys, welcome back to the channel. So food stamps are gone, right? EBT is paused, and we're watching thousands of families standing in line, not for a sale, not for a concert, but for food, right? People are showing up to food banks before sunrise, right? And some people are walking away with canned goods that are probably expired or barely enough to last days. And listen, right, you know it's bad when volunteers are saying that 1 meal they hand out is equal to 9 meals somebody used to get on EBT. This is not politics anymore. This is survival, right? America is supposed to be the richest nation in the world. But look. Anyways, credit goes to all original creators. Thank you so much for tapping in when you saw this. Let's watch and we'll be back with some commentary.
And y'all make sure y'all wear those MAGA hats when y'all standing in line at those food banks. They gonna feed you, because that's what they're supposed to do. They gonna feed you, but you make sure you wear that MAGA hat.
You guys, it's a sign of the times. Just cut EBT benefits. And then today, they had a food line, and this is what it looks like. Hold on. The worst part about it is they don't have enough food for everyone here. And I'm literally watching people in line breaking down in tears. This is America.
How long is this sustainable?
Wow. It's not. It won't be from the first day. For every meal that a food bank provides, the SNAP program provides 9. There's no way we can meet that gap. There's no way we can replace every single one of those meals. It is not sustainable for food banks to fill this gap. We were not built to do this. We will stand out there and we will do our very best.
Do you want to see what the food bank gave me this morning? I'll show you.
Why some of the new poor people complain so much about food bank food. I would be so fucking happy just to get any of that she got right there, okay? That's how you can tell the difference between new poor and old poor. The new poor don't know how to fucking survive for shit, okay? If you don't want that food bank food, give it to somebody else. Or trade with somebody else. Go like, hey, look, I got a few boxes of Oreos. I'll trade you for like 2 cans of peas or some onions or maybe some vegetables. Why is it the new poor complain so much about food bank food? You guys would not fucking survive. That's why old poor, like we old poor, I would be so happy to get any of that shit. Like, seriously. This is the kind of food bank food I grew up in the 90s and 2000s. See, the food bank food that we got back in the 90s and the 2000s was like this, okay? It wasn't the nice stuff that you get now, but we had to learn how to cook with this kind of food bank food. I'm going to show you the canned food that we used to get in the 90s and 2000s. So this is the old cans. You see the old pork and chicken cans and the government cheese? This is what they used to give us. And they used to give us like a little box of raisins too. You can see the little box of raisins right there in the corner. This is what they used to give us in the 90s and 2000s. And we had to learn how to cook with this, okay? So today's food is actually so much better compared to back in the 90s. So I'm grateful for that. But that's what I'm saying. This is the kind of food that we had to learn how to make taste good. We had to learn from our grandparents and our parents how to cook with this stuff.
Did anybody else notice that all the things they warned us about communism are happening under capitalism and nobody seems to be pointing it out? Like when I was a kid, people said, you don't want communism or you're going to have bread lines. And right now we have literally mile-long lines at food banks. That's a bread line, just because they're not only getting bread, it's still a bread line. They're like, in communism, only the top very 1% controls all the power and resources and everybody else just gets what they decide. Well, that's capitalism. Like right now, the top 1% controls over half the resources on the entire planet. That's a bigger wealth disparity than it ever happened under any communist nation, ever. Ever. We have worse wealth disparity right now than they did during the Gilded Age, than they did before the French Revolution. As a matter of fact, we have the worst economic disparity in the history of mankind. And this seems like all the things that they were like warning about communism are happening under capitalism and nobody wants to point it out. Like we literally have military patrolling the streets. So maybe capitalism's the problem.
I was just having a conversation with somebody about the upcoming SNAP and WIC benefits getting cut for the month of November. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you live under a very privileged rock. Anyway, this person asked, do you really want your tax dollars going to feed people who can't afford food? Yeah, no, that's exactly what I want, actually. Like, I think, personally, everybody deserves to eat, and I'm just a little bit confused how the same party who is forcing all of these babies to be born, these super cute babies deserve to live, but then they don't want to feed them, and they don't want to house them, and they don't want to give them health care, so then they're going to die anyway. They're going to die. Children are going to starve to death, and you're asking me if I think they deserve to eat. Personally, I think if you don't believe every person on the planet deserves food, you're an evil person. An evil, evil person. So I'm gonna go feed my baby because I can afford it. And then I'm gonna go buy food for another person's baby because they can't afford it. And if you aren't doing that, whenever you have the means to do that, you are a terrible person. Anyway, I'm not going to talk to that person anymore. Have a good day.
Woke take, I guess, but food shouldn't be used as a weapon, and everyone deserves to eat, even if they're poor. I feel like a lot of people are forgetting that these SNAP cuts will directly affect children, and if you're not forgetting that, you're just fucking evil. I want you to think about the last time you actually felt hunger. It's a very uncomfortable feeling, and if you're naive enough to think that this won't affect you, you're wrong. Hopefully, you're lucky enough to not cross paths with somebody who's so hungry they're willing to make a bad decision, but less people shopping in the stores means higher prices on groceries, and in this economy, that's not good for anybody. But somehow, we've convinced ourselves that the single moms on food stamps are the problem, rather than the 1% who has more money than this entire country combined. Right.
People are often as warm, as gracious, as kind, as honest, as forgiving, as loving, as welcoming, as XYZ as their circumstances allow them to be. Last year around the holidays, I posted on my story, if you're a single mom and you can't afford holiday gifts for your kids this season, please DM me, because I know Santa can be a little picky choosy with the houses he chooses to show up at. There was no follow me, like 10 of my posts, share to your story to be entered for a chance to win. It was simply, let me know, I'll see what I can do. And I was able to send Amazon gift cards and Venmo, whatever, to quite a few women. And I got a question from someone who's no longer in my life, and they were like, well, what if you send it and they are lying? Or what if you send the money and they use it for something else? Oh my God, what if? What if? Because back to my earliest point, people are often as honest, as gracious, as XYZ as their circumstances allow them to be. If you have it to give, give it freely. with absolutely no strings attached. If anyone wanted to go through the trouble of DMing someone and asking for money, asking for support, asking for anything, under the guise of I have children, I'm a single mother, and I need this support, and they're lying, that's probably because they are a person who needs support, full stop. It is not up to me to police what somebody does with my generosity after I am being generous. It is a crazy concept to me, because to believe that most people are scheming, are stealing, are lying simply for the fun of it is just like a common occurrence, and these people are not outliers, is a belief of humanity that I simply will not allow myself to have and will not allow to be projected onto me. And so when we're talking about the SNAP benefits, and people are saying, well, people should be required to have a clean drug test so that they can receive SNAP benefits. People should be required to do X, Y, Z so that they can receive government assistance. And if they don't, then how are they ever expected to get off of government assistance? One problem at a time. We have people outside dying. We have people outside dying. And we have more than enough space and more than enough resources. Somebody has to pee in a cup, and it needs to go through testing, and it needs to come back clear of things that I guarantee you 99% of the people up top in the White House would not come back clear for, okay? So that they can eat, so that their kids can eat. It is crazy to me. We have it to give. It should be given freely. And when that happens, when there is nobody dying from the heat, from the cold, from exhaustion, from not having enough food, from not having enough water, from not having shelter, then maybe we can talk about making sure that everyone handles and uses drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be, responsibly, safely. Maybe we can have that conversation, but that's not a conversation I really give a fuck about having right now at all. At all. I am so exhausted by seeing people speak about the homeless community, the addict community, all of these various people groups as if they are far off. I ate because of SNAP benefits. I ate because of SNAP benefits. And because I was allowed to eat, because of government assistance, I was able to go to school, to go to college, to create this life where I can sit on my fucking $3,000 couch and tell you to not be a piece of shit. And it's and we all need support. We all. So putting stipulations on the support other people can get because they fit in our box of what is good, what is fine, what is right, what is holy. God, get a fucking grip and a clue immediately. I'm ranting now. This video has been 5 minutes. I am baffled. I am baffled by the responses that the public is having about the loss of food benefits before the holidays, at any time, but before the holidays, as if it is not going to be directly linked to crime. Because people are as honest, as gracious, as warm, as all of those things as their circumstances allow them to be. And when people, the government, our behavior, our conversations online make their circumstances harder, either directly or indirectly, what do you think is going to happen? What is the actual plan to love people, to care for people, to show up for people? Because shaming people has not gotten us anywhere.
Hi. So I am one of the over 40 million people who did not receive their SNAP food benefits in November. So I went to the food bank. That's what it's there for. Please don't wait till you're starving to utilize your food bank. There is a resource. Use it. The more people that use it, the more funding that they can get. So all food banks aren't created equal, but the one that I go to is usually pretty consistent, but I did notice that this week things were slim pickings in some areas, and I think that's probably a reflection of more people needing to use it. So for a family of two, our food bank kind of lets you shop with a volunteer, so you get to pick certain items based on your family size. You can take any or all of those items. I don't get everything. I don't take the things that I won't use. Leave those for somebody that can. So this week there was only one protein option. It was salad shrimp. So these are, it's a huge bag of these little baby shrimp. I probably will make a few meals with them. One thing I'm going to use from the food bank with it is this whole grain pasta. So I will make probably like an Alfredo sauce with this and put some veggies in it. During farmers market season, the farmers market had an EBT match, which was a huge resource. Now that that's over, vegetables are expensive. So what I was able to get at the food bank, I got a couple peppers. They are a little wrinkled, but you know what? I can use the other halves of it, and I will dice those up and use those. I also got a couple tomatoes that are ready to use, an avocado that is ready to use, these adorable little tiny carrots, 4 of them. I try to be mindful when I select the produce. Produce at my food bank, you can take as much as you need, but I try to be mindful of the fact that we are a family of 2 and other people may have greater needs. I also got this cucumber, but I'm noticing that it's a little rubbery, so it may not be good. And then also some potatoes. So that was the produce. We did get 2 cups of frozen peaches. When I've gone before, they've given us like a dozen of those. So that's, I can tell that they're kind of limiting things to make things stretch. And then we also got a can of fruit. I also went with peaches. That's something everybody likes in our house. Some other staples, peanut butter, a package of ramen. You get a box of macaroni and cheese. This time they had Annie's. So got Annie's mac and cheese. Some baking needs, got a bottle of oil. They also offered some, I think, flour and oats. I didn't get those, and rice. I didn't get those as a diabetic. Sometimes it can be hard to eat a lower carb diet from the food bank. So I try not to bring those in the house. Also got some instant mashed potatoes. These are the brand that we buy usually, so Score. And then the local bread company had donated a bunch of baguettes. So I will probably slice these up, toast them, and then freeze them to warm up at a later time because I can't eat all of that before it goes bad. Also, some little snacks for my husband's lunch. Got a couple of those and a couple of chips. We also got a bag of Yogi tea. They always keep the food bank in big supply of tea. It's a local business. Also got a cake mix as a diabetic. Not something I need, but you need a little treat once in a while. Had this good no sugar added cereal. I don't know that I will eat it as cereal, but I may just put it in some yogurt for a little crunch. And then canned goods. I did not take as many as I am eligible to take. Again, just took what I felt like we would use. So we got a couple cans of tuna, some Campbell's chunky soup. We got a lot of chili fixins. So there's chili beans, kidney beans, diced tomatoes, tomato sauce. I also got some black beans. That's something my family will use. Some white beans and These are like canned potatoes. I'll probably just make a vegetable soup and throw them in. So that is everything that I got this week at the food bank. If you're not using it, use it.
This is people's lives, right? Nobody should be waiting in line or waiting hours just to eat, and nobody should feel guilty for needing help. But yet, this is where we are. This is the America of today, right? But what do you guys think? Should food be treated like a basic human right in America, or are we really okay watching families struggle while politicians basically just play in our faces? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you. Shout out again to the original creators. Thank you so much for tapping in when you saw this. Quick disclaimer, this is not to incite hate or violence of any kind. This is just for education and commentary purposes. Thank you so much for tapping in again when you saw this, and as usual, I'll see you on my next one.